Keep it a Honda. We
Yes,
back.
sir.
99 ain't good enough.
Hell
We
of a
back at it
discussion off
again.
there. Hell of a discussion.
We sometimes bring it back on the air. You know what I mean? And that's what we do. So don't hurt us for that. Don't shoot us for that.
Hammer, don't hurt him.
Hammer, no. Hammer. I am Hammer. They put me in the mix. So this topic today on 99 Ain't Good Enough, we want to talk about sports enthusiasts, sports athletes being a role model and how it's unwarranted pressure to be a role model because you can dunk a basketball and shoot a basketball.
You trying to get us in an argument, man?
And put a ball in a hole and tip a ball with a 9-iron and shoot a ball and hit a baseball that's going 100 miles per hour and all the different and hit a tennis ball and all this other stuff. For me, I'm on the athletic side because at the end of the day, I shouldn't have to shut down a movie theater to go to a movie theater with my family because I make $100 million a year. I'm human. I got the same organs, the same 650 muscles in the body, the same I got blood, I got all that. So is it fair to acknowledge that athletes becoming role models because of what they're able to do in their level of specialization or the gifts that they've been possessed with that God gave them, to now be saying, okay, you're now a role model because so many kids look up to you. And the great Charles Barkley once said, what did he say?
I don't know.
I am not a role model.
I am not a role model.
Well, you don't want to hear my take on it.
Well, I know I definitely want to hear your take.
Well,
You don't keep it on.
Yeah.
I definitely want to hear your take. Because for me, my take is this. If for whether it's a kid waiting for an autograph or a kid that's mimicking your style or your verbiage or certain things, is it fair to the athlete or is it unfair to the kid? I'm waiting.
So this is
I'm
what
waiting.
I say about,
I'm waiting.
I call it all that fanboy stuff.
Fanboy.
You may have an 11-year-old kid who does like Mike Trout, but the daddy a bigger fanboy than the actual 11-year-old kid. Mm-hmm. You know, anytime you start, I guess I don't know what word I want to use. You start placing or putting somebody, you know, if you in the house with your kids, you telling your kid, look how Carmelo be coming through. But look how he, you know, I'm gonna try to act like Melo. I don't think that's no good. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think Lil Mario's role model should be you, one of his uncles,
I agree.
his granddaddy.
But that's not always the case, though.
Right.
Because what happens is a lot of times when we see somebody next to us, and it's whether it's a swag, whether it's a style of dress, whether it's something they said, or you fell in love with the sport that you're playing,
Right.
you typically gravitate to those that make sense to you.
Right.
We all are different. We all are uniquely different in regards to our personality trait and how we go about doing it. Now, I don't want to say that everybody from the 70s and the 60s and the 50s and the 80s looked up to people that was right there in front of them. Well, part of it, because there's so many other dynamics. Social media,
Right.
you can now have all access to certain things that athletes are doing, all these different things. But is it fair to say that if somebody that's prominent in sports deserves to be a role model to other kids? Is that fair to say? Because what happens is a lot of times if they don't give an autograph, if they're not formidable in their approach and they're approachable, I personally don't think that's fair because the human element goes out the window. You know what I mean? We walk around every day as non-celebrities. We don't have to book a movie theater to get into the movies. We don't have to walk into a dinner outing and be concerned with a number of people coming up to our table and taking pictures. So at the end of the day, a role model, because obviously the only reason it's like that because if you put so many things at the forefront on the TV and you see this guy day in and day out, what is a kid going to see? What are they going to gravitate to? I want to play basketball.
Right.
I want to be like Trae Young. I want to be like LeBron James. I want to be like, you know, it's all these different. I want to be like Carmelo Anthony. I want to be like this, and this. The style, the dress, the swag, you know, whatever. I personally don't think it's fair because of the other side of it. If something happens and they have a human moment,
Right.
what happens? They get destroyed. Now this kid is disappointed. That don't happen to us. something happened to us and we have a moment. It ain't no news.
Well, they just because you ain't nothing.
You ain't nothing.
I just think that's horrible parenting. And I know that's going to sound judgy. Like, if your kid go be in the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th grade, and his favorite athlete got caught in a room with some strippers and some cocaine, and he all broke up about it.
Y'all want something, man?
Let me hear it, OG.
What Coach, you got to give us something because it's not horrible parenting. A lot of times, and again, I'll get to society's pressures.
Let me go to the old. Let me go.
Go ahead.
I'm
Coach.
going back, and it ain't never gonna be popular, bro, because it's old. There was a time, bro.
Coach, if the old had to happen before the new happened.
I know that,
I'm not
but
gonna let
people
you
don't
do that.
accept it no more.
Yeah, but they don't accept it, but we do.
Let me
So
go.
give it to me.
Let me give it to you. There was a time, bro. Role model. I'm performing a role. You know why I'm performing a role? Because I'm before you.
Okay.
So because I'm before you, I'm blazing a trail.
Okay.
And when I blaze this trail, I have to blaze it and set an example. Now, whether it's fair or not is irrelevant.
Right.
All right? And the fact that you getting paid millions of dollars, hell, suck it up and take it. I'll take $1 million for people to interrupt my dinner. I sure will. I sure will. Because you know what? I really could have that dinner delivered at the house.
Right.
And I really could bring guests to the house. So I'll take $1 million. Now, I'm talking that shit because I ain't got $1 million and I really don't know.
Okay.
So it could change. I'm going to preface that. But you are a role model, bro. I ain't nothing. But every day I step out of my house, and every young black male that see me as a man walking, and how I walk, and how I talk, and how I carry myself, and how I dress, I'm a role model, period. That's how I see it. Now, I dribble a ball, I make a couple of baskets, and how they highlight that now, I'm more of a role model. But guess what? That's part of why I'm getting paid what I'm getting paid. Because I'm a role model. I'm a role model as a damn PE coach right now. When I go to PE every day, fellas, and I ain't wearing nothing spectacular, but you know what? I'm clean.
That's considered spectacular.
I'm clean. I match. That's just me. That's just me.
Yeah.
I match.
Upbringing. Yes, sir.
That go back to Barbara Jones.
Ooh.
Okay. I'm
me.
matching and I'm looking. And a lot of kids say, well, why you dressed like that? What you mean I got on short shirt and Pete? But you matching or this or that. And I'm not saying it's all spectacular. I'm saying I know they looking. And whether I want to be a role model or not, I am. And sometimes I get tired of having to think in that terms, but you have to think in them terms because you set the stage for people behind you. You know why? Because people before me set that damn stage, and I followed them. It was a time, bro, when you go somewhere, you go to a ball game, you wore a suit.
Very well said.
It's gone now. It's gone now, and I'm not saying you got to wear a suit, but I'm saying they still set the stage for me. Now, I don't wear a suit,
Right.
but I'm not going out there looking any kind of way.
Jones, with my grandmother being older, we would go to Detroit every summer.
Yeah.
Middle of the summer.
And when you got on that plane,
to quote my older brother, we had on our monkey suits.
Wow.
but see, things
It's
changed.
98 degrees. She's making us dress up to go
But
to
you
the
dress.
airport.
You dress. That's
Yeah.
where the expression come from. Something happened, you don't want to have no holes in your drawers.
Right.
But I think also too, society's pressures put a lot of that on us. Like
It has.
You talking about cultural differences or cultural
I-
advances that your
Somewhat.
that your parents put on.
Yes.
You. Same thing apply with me. Same thing apply with you.
Right.
But now when we talking about role models, and the definition of role models is a person to be intimidated, to be imitated. I'm sorry.
Yes.
That's what a role model is.
But you want to, bro, I don't want to imitate Bozo the Clown.
Right, but here's the thing though, and again the pressure of saying, okay, here's I'm a kid. I had athletes that I admired growing up. Randall Cunningham, you know what I mean, Jamal Mashburn, Larry Johnson was one of my favorite players. You know, and then I began to like Scottie Pippen, but it was more their game. It wasn't who they were as a.
I agree.
Right.
But now today is what is LeBron wearing?
It
What
is.
is-
But the media has
what is
done
this guy
that.
wearing?
The media has done
The
it.
media-
Now, Charles Barkley wasn't all the way off when he didn't say, I'm not a role model. Well, Charles Barkley, to me, I ain't nothing.
Right.
Charles Barkley should have said, listen.
No, you something, coach.
Yeah, you the truth.
You the truth now.
Charles Barkley should have said, listen, I'm just a man. I'm going to make mistakes. I got flaws. But I think this is how we should carry ourselves. This is how we should live. Now, you can choose to follow me or we not. But he is a role model. So You got to preface it and lay it out there. I tell kids all the time, hey, bro, don't do this. That's how you would. Now, listen, this coming from a flawed man. I got more flaws than you can see, okay? But I have been here. I have seen some things. And I'm telling you, if you don't go in this path, it's going to be much more difficult. And my job, fellas, my job even for y'all, and I'm older, but even for y'all, my job is to try to steer you in the right path. And the best way is don't do what I say, but do what you see me do.
Yeah, right. but it's admirable to be able to witness that amongst another fellow man. You know, growing up in an era, and all of us have similarities in regards to our thought process, but we grew up in an era as do as I say, not as I do. You know what I'm saying? Like, my parents can tell me, my grandma could tell me, oh, go read this or go read that, but nobody else read, and I did it.
But see,
now you can't do that personally.
Over time, I've learned, go ahead and set that stage, and it's not do as I say do, it's do as you see me do.
Right, and that's what I personally try to do.
And then I'm going to preface it with, I'm going to fall sometimes, bro.
Yes. So being in the right now and being in the and it's a topic that is a favorite of mine because I didn't know it was looked upon this way. So I have a kid right now, Bosnian kid, moved here. Dad's head of Cancer Market Center, you know, this, that, and other. Grew up shooting semi-automatic rifles, moved to the States, played football, ended up playing football in South Florida. He's decided to not to go to the NFL because he wanted to hold his kids when he was older. I don't know if he'll feel comfortable me mention his name, but I'll say it anyway. And I'll deal with the consequences later. But his name is Gubekovich. And me and this kid, over time, being able to train him. But for me, I'm mentioning him because I got a text message the other day, and I didn't know it was this effect. He was like, Coach, you made me see the world the way I see it today, which is a lot different from most folks.
Can I stop you just for a second?
Sir.
That wasn't your goal.
No, it definitely wasn't. You're dead on. So in regards to, and you was somebody that's on your coaching staff, I never forget, and I never told Zeus this, but I remember being at an event behind the scenes at a South Florida game, and he would introduce me as his mentor. Now, I trained Zeus doing his pro career, but there were certain things that he was picking up on that he felt that I was doing that he wanted to mimic as a man. And I didn't know that as being something where I'm like, oh, now you're in a position to be a role model. For me, it was always easy because you know where we come from. It's easy to be you. I'm never going to be unauthentic or fake or anything else. So for me, it was easy. Now, at the end of the day, when you see somebody on the stage that have to perform every single night, let's give props where props are due. People don't know the preparation mentally guys go through day in and day out to get on the stage and perform in front of hundreds of thousands of people, millions of people every single day. So when they decide to have a humanistic moment and they begin to be human, you think that they're superhuman, and that's not fair.
Right.
Again, lay it out, bro. Listen, I'm just a man. I said it to you, man.
Yeah.
I'm just a man. So you ain't got to follow me, but I'm telling you what you doing is got to tighten up and go the other way.
Yeah, but Coach, you being a man, and at the end of the day, a lot of times, let's say we want to say, Coach, you so eloquently said one day that testosterone is the worst drug.
It's the worst.
And I'll piggyback that by saying, if you sprinkle in some ego, you're in trouble.
Big time.
So now we're talking about being
Definitely
a role
in
model.
trouble.
So at the end of the day, you have a son, I have a son and 2 daughters, you have daughters as well. At the end of the day, we don't know what they're paying attention to. I know
everything.
Right, but I'm saying in regards to things that's going to be significant to them.
They pick it.
You said earlier, if Mario see you as his dad and he's doing this, that, and other, you should be the guy that he looks up to. Yeah, I should be. But at the end of the day, if it's somebody positive, I almost have to be okay with what that brings to the table if he's imitating somebody from a positive level.
So I want to say this when I said that's horrible parenting. I think there's been a lot of I saw a guy who played in the league, and he was saying, oh, well, my son didn't want to play football because he would constantly get compared to his dad. Mm-hmm. And I didn't think that was fair to my son, so, he didn't really play football. So what immediately struck me was he shouldn't be worried about what nobody outside your house say. So if you and his mother ain't putting no pressure on him, what does he worry about what somebody who don't even know him talking about? So I felt like that was a cop-out by this former football player.
It's easier, bro.
Yeah, that was a cop-out.
It is, but I dealt with something like that.
Can I tell you something, man? Every morning I wake up, bro. Every single morning, even the mornings I don't feel like it. My first thought is, I can't let Barbara Sue and Tommy Jones down. They're my parents. Because they brought me here and they taught me. I can't let them down. I know what that means. That don't mean I might not, but that's my goal. The next thought, I can't let my wife, my son, my daughter, I can't let them down. The next thought, I can't let my players that I coach down. They can't see me in the paper. I was picking up a stripper or something. Right. Now I'm letting everybody down.
Yes, sir.
All right? Then
Then
the next thought, the kids I teach, I can't. So I go down the checklist,
Right.
whether I want to or not, every single morning, and I ain't getting paid nothing. But guess what? The people before me, see, I hate how we romanticize the moment and this giant and that. We forget all them people, man. That's why I get on here sometime and I mention them people, man, that this lady sitting in the hallway and all that. We forget what got us to where we at.
Yeah.
And sometimes that's why we can't go no further, because we keep forgetting. So, bruh, you making millions of dollars and the media has built you up. Whether you want to be there or not, you want that $1 million. Right. That's what go with it.
But that's the hardest part of it. And again, Devin mentioned earlier on a podcast, not going too far left, but when you see the unconditionalness, the authentic, mentality amongst a lot of guys, where they create like burner accounts, for example. You got guys that have 4 or 5 or 6 accounts to kind of creatively be somebody else that they actually not. And where I'm going is in the midst of this. When you look at ego, and you look at it's a lot of pressure to be a role model when at the end of the day all you want to do is play football.
Then don't go get the money. Don't go take that check then.
Get the money back.
And I'm with you. All you want to do is play golf. All you want to do is do all these things. But now what comes with it? So going back to your point.
Shit, real. All I want to do is go to work every day and have a job. But damn part of my job, these dudes looking at me.
So, Coach, it's something you just said that resonated with me. And I want all of us to express to everybody that's listening. Who is your role model? See, for me, I mentioned it before, and I'll go first, Devin. I'll go first. My role model was a woman that was born in 1934. Marjorie, yes.
I remember because I done heard you talk about it, and it stuck with me. Every story you tell. Go ahead.
But for her and for me, again, it was other cousins and grandkids around. But for me, it was like, okay, I see the commitment. I see the drive. I see the determination. I see the toughness.
And you see the trail that was blazed.
I see the trail that was blazed. So when it came down to it, I signed to go play at UCF, play basketball. And I never forget, one of the guys in the interview, you had to fill out this questionnaire. They said, "What's your most prized possession?" And I said, "My grandmother." You know what I mean? They was like, "What?" And for me, it was, and again, don't get me wrong, present day, I'm not a fan of like, okay, because of our cultural dynamics, all of us are sitting here as indigenous people and as melanated men. It's not our responsibility to take care of our folks, but we feel like it's our responsibility to take care of our folks at the end of the day. And we should, because of just how we were conditioned and how we were raised, because they took care of us. And that's our heart, and that's what it speaks on. So for me, when it came down to a role model, all I knew was this speed, this direction, this level of intestinal fortitude, and to go here, here, and here. That's what taught me in the midst of my role model. And that's all I knew at the end of the day. You know what I mean? I didn't have a father. And I had my father late on. I didn't have, like I had athletic points of reference where I'm like, I like the way he dribbled the ball.
Right.
But as far as like having somebody that I can touch to say, this is what life is about as a role model, somebody I can imitate, I'm going to imitate that drive.
But see, that's lost. And what I'm saying is, man, we walk somewhere. You think we was the only person to walk right there in that area? I think about this all the time. I walk out down the tree. Somebody walked there before me. and made this a greater spot. Now, when I walk in it, I'm not taking that for granted, and I might make it even greater.
Yes, sir.
We forget that somebody walked before us, and we forget that somebody gonna walk after us.
Absolutely. We forget that all the time.
We forget that.
And
So now,
and it's
because we
becoming-
make a few dollars,
Right.
and I don't want the pressure, I don't know what, bro, you kidding me?
But what the few dollars does is cloud.
What a few dollars
really
does is
means.
make you hide.
Yeah,
It
right.
makes you hide.
And it's like, and for me, I know a lot of circumstantial, unspoken notions become unfair to today's athlete being role models.
Well, listen,
You know
it
what I'm
makes
saying?
you hide. You know why? Because of the money and the fame, everybody's gonna come and put pressure on you to give it to them.
Yes, sir.
And that's what they're hiding from. They're more hiding from that than and then it turns into you hiding from everything, but you can't hide from the fact that somebody coming after you.
But let's admit this, Coach. When it comes down to us, and we a lot of times on the same page in regards to our fabric, our pedigree. You know what I mean? Where we come from and what we do. Let's identify this. Your role model, Debonair. Who's your role model?
It was my grandfather, my granddaddy. I remember we would leave our house. We lived on Fremont. Leave our house, go hit Swan, make a right on Swan, get to Howard. It's a CVS now. There's a place called Burt's Hardware. But if you made a left, there's a place called the Chatterbox. If you got down a little further, on the corner of Howard and Bristol, there's a place. It's called Daily Eats right now.
Yes, sir. I've ate there before.
That was a place.
Pretty good food.
I lived in Hyde Park all my life.
Daily Eats. We need a sponsor. What's happening?
Have never stepped foot. Oh no, have never stepped foot in that building.
We got 1,000 subscribers. What's happening?
Have
Daily
never-
Eats. Tighten up.
Have never stepped foot in that building. It was a place called the Old Meeting House. And my granddaddy said in the 30s and 40s they would make the black people go around the back and wait for their food by the dumpster. He told me that when I was 8 years old. I remember saying, I will never. And he told me, he's like, don't you ever go in there and get them 1 penny of your money. They used to make the black people go around the back, wait for their food by the dumpster. They couldn't sit inside. You know what I'm saying? So my granddaddy was always my role model. Just even, I remember being 8, 9, being with him and looking at the way people responded when he came in. Whether it was, we going to the Madison Fish Market. Oh, it's Bubba. Hey, how you doing, Bubba? Back in the day by Wilson, there was a Hostess plant. Jones, you know it was a big Hostess plant in Hyde Park. If you grew up in Hyde Park, you know you'll wake up and it smells like bread baking.
Yes, sir.
You can smell it.
I remember coming off the crosstown.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
You would go over there. My granddaddy sent me up here to get such and such. The old man, oh, you Bubba grandson? Oh, here, take this to him.
Yeah.
So it was always my grandfather, but then he died, and then it morphed into my grandmother.
And then go ahead, Coach. On you, baby. Role model.
Young fellas,
Yes, sir.
people mix role models in with who you admire.
Right.
Yes, sir. Great point,
Okay.
Coach.
I admire a lot of dudes and how they carry themselves and how they dress and all. My role model can't be nobody else but my daddy when he was working for 35 years for Goodyear and working for nothing and started out as a tire man and became a mechanic and put me through private school. It can't be nobody but Barbara Jones when she was working at Honeywell and getting paid nothing and put me through private school and didn't have the money and we was on food stamps. Okay? It can't be nobody else as my role model.
Right.
It can be people that I admire, how they carry themselves, how they dress, and I want to copy. That's a difference between a role model and people have gotten that mixed up who they admire. And it's okay to admire people.
Now, Coach,
Don't get me twisted.
Is it fair to say that a lot of today's, youth or yesterday's
They
youth,
admire these people.
they admire the
Why?
glitz and the glamour?
Because of the glitz, the glamour, and the money. And I get it.
No doubt.
I get it.
But when you have something right there next to you, what people don't understand is something. It's something called intangibles, right?
That's why. Listen, that's why the drug dealer can be a big dude in the neighborhood because they admire him and what he has.
Right.
He's not a role model.
Right. I don't want to imitate
No.
that because that ain't gonna last long.
No, but they don't know that when they're young, so they admire that. So we get mixed up with who we admire and who's a role model. The one that admire is a dude that's grinding every day and taking care of his family. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And he ain't missing a beat and things going here and there. But guess what? He ain't put no shirt up on his arm, but there ain't a drop of sweat coming off his
Yes,
head.
sir.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because that's what he got to do.
Yeah.
So when you start role modeling, it's just what you got to do, baby. That's just how it is. You see what I'm saying?
Well, it's amazing the stuff that's put in front of us, how it takes away from the ideology of like family dynamics. You know what I mean? Like it really does take that away. It's
Yes.
like a kid can look up to a rap superstar, a country superstar, a basketball player, football player, baseball player, soccer player.
And ain't nothing wrong with that.
Nothing at all.
No.
Nothing at all. But at the end of the day, what did we say before? That grind has been taken away from us. We're going to see the all access piece of that. We don't see that. So now you have a mother working at Honeywell every single day, going to get it done. And now you see that. You have a father saying, you know what? I want the best for my child. I'm going to build myself up. I'm going to climb the corporate ladder, and I'm going to get to this point. For you, that speaks volumes.
So now, let me take you another place real
Yes, sir.
quick. So what's happening is the family unit been broken up, and man, I don't want to go all here, but the family unit been broken up, and the dad ain't there, so now they got to go to them dudes to be role models.
Yeah,
Because they ain't got a role model. So now the dude that they admire has to be a role model because there's no role model there in the house.
Yeah, but the agenda remains the same. About, like, when you look at the non-family dynamics of it from today, where it's like, okay, a kid has his mom and dad in front of him. Some didn't. Or they had a coach or a mentor, whatever it may be that they had in front of them. They don't look at the person that's providing the opportunity, that's being patient with your struggles and your stripes. Right. The person that's allowing you to be able to understand. They don't pay attention to that piece of it. When you say, you know what, let me imitate my mom's drive and direction. Let me imitate my dad's diligence and toughness and this, that, and other. Because I think we can all sit here and say that when it comes down to any attribute that's needed for any human being, it's toughness. What's your wherewithal and how do you bounce back?
That's true.
So that level of understanding when we talk about role model, and again, it's not us going left, but here we are knowing that when it comes down to a guy that just dropped 45 and had a triple-double, or a person that just won 30 majors and this, that, and other, if I'm putting this in front of them every single day, they're listening to articulation. They're listening to what they're doing, what they're eating, how they,
and that's where the pressure comes from.
Who they married to, who they're not married to, how do they have a girlfriend, this, that, and other. Is it white, black, green, purple, whatever it may be? They looking at all of that.
Listen.
And justifying it because this person is doing it, because in the great corporation of America, what happens, Coach, is we put a lot of stock in our celebrities.
Yeah, listen.
Go ahead.
And I watch it all the time. I never thought ESPN, I was here before it came. And I said, ain't no All Sports Network gonna work. Not only is it work, it's flourishing, it's growing.
Billions.
And what it has done is it has changed our whole thought process on athletes, on how great they are, on being role model. ESPN has created this narrative and changed it. And it has blown up so big, we can't see it. Only the ones, not saying you guys, because you understand certain things.
Yes, sir.
Only the ones that were there before there was an ESPN can see it. I say all the time, I told this dude 30 years ago, and it sound crazy.
Hey, Coach, I was
and
12, Coach. I was in the 6th grade.
No, he told me.
I hate to go there.
I had some Everlows
This
on.
hard for you. I told him 30 years ago, and he'll admit it. He came to me and he said, Jones, you hating, man.
Because I got beat down by the Jordan. You know, I'm not a Jordan fan like that.
Right, but you got beat down by the Jordan antics.
I was just like, Jones, I mean, they done won 3 in a row. Like, he got
He the man.
Like, Jones was like, he cold.
He nice.
And I'm a fan.
Yeah, he the man.
That's what
And I'm
he said.
a tune in.
He had old, what am I trying to say? The Sports Illustrated. He had old magazines.
I kept him. I got him.
He was a fan, but he was like,
He's not the greatest. He's not the greatest. He's the latest. But ESPN came along at the right time and blew
the
up.
shoe companies.
Shoe
Now, he had to be able to play.
He had to be able to play.
Yeah.
And he cold.
And
he's cold.
Yeah, and we gonna no, Coach. I know you know that.
You know I know that.
But he told me
you know.
that when I was in like the 10th grade. And I hate bringing the story up because it sounds like we just trying to like make, but he been told me that.
I said it 30 years ago. And now, I'm a fan. He cold. I get it. I love him.
Yeah.
But we have been, ESPN is the greatest manipulator of sports and role modeling and all that has ever been created on the space of this earth.
Well, part of it, Coach, is they owned by Disney.
That's the parent
That's the parent company, which is, let me rephrase, they might be the greatest manipulator of young minds. And
so it's all entertainment at the end of the day. What can I put in?
I ain't gonna get picked off going home or something.
No. But
Possibly.
And again, we just gave them a shout out. Like nobody's knocking their hustle.
No.
But what can I put in front of the psychology of human beings to say, how can I make this sport entertaining?
You know how they do it? The top 10. The not top 10.
The not top 10.
Yeah,
Right.
that's how they do it.
I watched one of our show we put back and I cried because we were talking. Who is the Elias Sports Bureau?
Oh.
Are they? And
I
we
would
talked
love
about
to
them
work
wearing
there.
suits.
Yeah, I would love
Who is that? But guess what? We all accept it
But, Coach,
because it came out on ESPN and they lead everything with, according to the Elias Sports Bureau, who are they?
Listen,
Tell the truth.
When you put something at the forefront that's new, that's introduced, you're gonna make an abundance of money about it. For it.
And I'm not knocking their hustle, bro.
And nobody's knocking their hustle. So we have this platform to be able to speak our mind, our life experience, and this, that, and other. So being a role model, being able to imitate, we all have our own personal role models.
Yes.
Today, every kid, have their role models. Don't put so much stock in the role models of the athletes because they are human beings.
Thank you.
And they only give you the finished product. Understand that they are human. Understand that they do have emotions. They do have the same blood circulation flowing through. They do understand they don't want to be bothered. They do want to rest. They want to be lazy at times. They want to do all the things that we all want to do. So is it fair to say that they're role models in the midst of it? It's only fair because at the end of the day, based off of what's been put in front of you, that we have acknowledged that every athlete needs to be role models. So
whether you want to or not.
Whether you want to or not. So that's what we come up with. That's what we keep it 100. That's what about when 99 ain't good enough. And we are now at one of our most favorite segments.
Yes, sir.
I'll never forget.
I'm going to go first. So,
Okay, jump on in there.
Y'all
young
gotta jump
fella.
in there.
You've been holding this one.
not just thinking about my granddaddy.
Gotcha.
So probably once a month, sometimes twice a month, we would go to an old restaurant that was, on Bayshore called the Colonnade. And that was a big deal.
I remember that. I used to love to go there.
They had an alligator.
They had alligator. That's
Listen,
when I first saw
I used to take my wife on a little date right there. That was a big thing. Go to Colonnade, boy.
That colonnade was bam!
Listen, I had to save up a little money on a couple of checks.
Yeah.
That was
Yes,
good.
sir.
Yes, sir.
So we'll go to the Colonnade maybe once, twice a month, dress up. I'm getting the gator.
You better dress up in there.
Oh, I had to
Had
dress
a
up.
gator.
I had to dress up.
Gotta have a gator.
So how I started eating alligator with my brother, who I told y'all is a sociopath. I grew up in the house with a sociopath.
Oh.
He was like, yeah, it's just chicken.
Shout out, bro.
It's just chicken. Yeah, just eat it. Eating the gator. We get in the car. My brother like, that wasn't chicken. That was alligator. I break down crying.
Oh, Grandma, you had me some alligator.
I break down crying. One of the few times my granddad actually looked back and was like, the hell you back there crying for? You been eating the same gator for 2 months. Now you let this fool over here tell you it's gator. You back here crying. Wait till we get home. Like, what's going to happen? Of course, we get home in 3 minutes, nothing happened. He pulled me in the room.
Right.
Have a man talk with me.
Oh, yeah, gotta have that man
Hey,
talk.
look, man, you got to cut all that crying out, man.
Nobody with all that.
I used to be- I
That's
used to
that
be a bucket of
role.
water.
That's that role model right there.
Right. I used to be a bucket of water,
Hey,
Joe.
he with the still water on.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
I used to be a bucket of water.
Oh, gee, he with the still water.
Cry about
He want
anything.
nothing. 800 count sheets.
Not
Go lay down.
My brother
He
said,
ain't nothing.
You ain't nothing.
one time I leave my bicycle in the front of the house. He tell me, somebody came and stole your bicycle. Oh, he ain't did it but moved it to the side of the house. So
Boy, you ain't
again,
nothing, boy.
I never forget me thinking I was finna get in trouble. My granddaddy just having a man talk with me. Stop all that crying. What you crying for all the time?
Again, I always go with it. Everything about life for the last 11 years of my life has always been about a field. You know what I mean? Whether it's been, somebody I've encountered, I welcome the alignment of life, whatever it brings to the table. You know what I mean? Being able to be in so many different avenues and encompasses of life. Coach mentioned something earlier about what he say daily when he wake up. My daily walks when I wake up is allow me to deal with the encumbrances of people, because there's always people that want to sway you and change certain directions that you're going to be able to go. So the one thing, personally, that I want to be able to welcome is I never forget sitting down. My grandmother was a big Walker of Texas Ranger fan. She was a big MacGyver fan.
That was her programs.
That was her programs.
Yeah.
She was a big old Western fan. Yeah. She was a big Golden Girls fan. So, yeah, me 6'7", 270 pounds. I watch Golden Girls. I watch Walker's Texas Rangers.
Them was good shows.
I watch all of these programs.
We talking about Chuck Norris, huh?
Growing up as a 10-year-old.
I'm a rifleman and all that.
All that rifleman, yes sir.
You know he played pro ball.
Did he?
Rifleman was a pro ball player for the Boston. Look it up. Rifleman Chuck Connors was a pro basketball player, Boston Celtics.
After my grandmother had a stroke, she would always she didn't want to like sleep on like nothing but a day bed. Like, day bed, those that don't know what a day bed is, go look it up. Day bed. So I'm sitting there in Indian style one day and we're yes, sir.
Crisscross applesauce.
I'm sorry. Crisscross applesauce, not Indian style. I'm sorry. My apologies. I'm sitting in indigenous style or American Indian style,
right?
Where how they would have their rituals. Thank you for that.
They're only real Americans,
right?
Yeah,
right. So
everybody else a guess.
But I'll never forget how they would at the time. We were just talking, was watching the show. She was a big blood sport fan and like all these shows, and I'm like, dang, my grandma really like to watch TV. Present day, I'm not a TV fan, but some of the things that she watched is very significant. Present day, a lot of storytelling, a lot of different things that help me. But I'll never forget. She said, grandson, I want you to never forget this. She said, tomorrow has enough problems of its own. Never worry about tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
It's called a present for a reason. A present, you wrap it up in a bowl.
It's a gift.
So it's a gift. So for me, and I didn't know that I would literally be, and it may sound ignorant, but I never thought it would be like I literally took that and became like ignorant with it. Like I'm never ever if I go through something personally, like and it's yesterday, 1980, 90, 2000, 2010, 2020. I promise you I'm never concerned about it. Because at the time when she told me, I'm like, there's nothing I can do about it. We have this decaying body that all of us are in. All of us are decaying.
Good night.
Every last one of us. We're going to leave here at some point in time.
Some ahead of the schedule.
Some ahead of the schedule.
Some faster than others.
Some faster than others.
Yeah.
But for me, I'll never forget just that conversation in that particular night that just put things in perspective for me as a young man that I had to graduate through as a kid. Like, don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow I have enough problems on. And again, I'm not the biggest Bible follower because of the number of contraindications and different conflicts in the midst of it. But at the same time, and we won't speak on religion, but that comes from Matthew 8, verse 34. But I'll never forget that conversation that particular night. Coach?
I'll never forget, man. Coming up, you at the woods in Sefner. You come to the city. You playing middle school ball. First time you play ball, Sacred Heart Academy right over there on Florida Avenue. I passed by that not too long ago. I saw they tore the gym down. Kind of touched me a little bit. That's why I first played organized.
That's where you used to lay it down at.
That's where I used to lay it down.
Get buckets.
That was my first dunk in 8th grade.
See that?
That was my first pin on the glass.
Hey, Coach, 8th grade?
8th grade. I was like that.
Nothing. Why?
Oh, I was like that.
Why ain't done the 10?
8th grade. I was like that. And first coach I had, Glenn Wilkes. Next one, Vernon Chuning. Two white dudes. You know, you a black kid in private school, ain't about 4 or 5 of y'all that's athletes that's playing on teams. And the thing I loved about them dudes was training us in plyometrics, but I didn't know what plyometrics. I had never heard of plyometrics.
Yes, sir.
Might not even been called I don't know.
Yes, sir.
But we were jumping over the benches.
No, it wasn't called plyometrics then.
I didn't think so.
The introduction of plyometrics was in the mid-90s.
See, that's why I That's
The
2.0.
Yeah.
You need to get in here
Yeah.
to this gym. Let this man work this
5135
2.0.
West Cypress.
Mid-90s was plyometrics, and,
Yes.
and the reason I welcome it because I was literally just talking about Matt Krause, who's now the head trainer of the New York Yankees, who brought it to us as
Gotcha.
athletes when I was at UCF.
So we talking about 78, 77, 78, 79.
Yeah.
We got the long benches from here to the wall. We jumping sideways. Boom, boom, boom. We jumping up, down, up, down. We was doing plyometrics.
Yes,
I know
sir.
that now. You know what I mean? They mess around and let me get a degree from University of Florida in exercise sports science.
Ooh, talk to me.
So I learned that.
You the
But
truth
I,
now.
but I said, them dudes had us doing plyometrics before it was plyometrics. And then we would top that off. The plyometric was after we jogged from Florida Avenue right there to Hillsborough High School, run sets of bleachers.
On Central?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Run sets of bleachers and then run back to Sacred Heart Academy, right? What's the name of the projects right there?
Robles Paul.
Robles Paul. So we were doing all that. I never forget them dudes training us and taking us to that level. And at the same time, here go two young white coaches. We talking about 70s.
Yes, sir.
And all them dudes did was, when we was wrong, they chastised us. When we was right, they praised us. They didn't do
Positive and
nothing
negative-
more, nothing
positive,
less.
Positive negative reinforcement.
That's it.
Positive
Didn't
and
treat us
negative
bad, didn't treat us, no favor, no treating bad, you did good, you got praise. Them dudes set the foundation for me, man, and helped me with my sports and what I got out of it and what I learned from it. And even today as a coach, I never forget them dudes. I know one of them passed, Vernon Truoney did. Glenn Wilkes, I think he's still alive. And I don't even know if he'll see this, and it don't matter. I'm putting the names out there. I'm telling you, man, we stand on the shoulders of people that lifted us up to be what we are. So I never forget.
They say 6 tons of humans, you know what I mean, that we do. When
Well, I
we
got
talking about
plenty more coming.
carrying the weight. So I want everybody to that's listening to always go into the archives of your mind and really think about what you'll never forget, because there are some intimate thoughts. Always be one with yourself, with your thoughts, because there's so much being taken away from us in regards to our thoughts.
Yes.
Don't forget to like the video.
Can't take that
the big
unless you
thumbs
loud.
up button. Please hit it with the topics you want to hear next. We're willing to talk about everything. We have a myriad and a list of things that we will touch on each and every episode. Subscribe to the channel. And remember, 99 ain't good enough. What we
Keep it 100.
See ya.
what a Honda.
99 out.